Welcome to the Lean Smarts podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Crawford, a lean expert at Lean Smarts, and this is the show where I teach everything lean. The goal is primarily your education to help you learn lean so that the world can be a better place. And I do truly mean that. In fact, after this episode about the greatest waste of all, you're going to understand that more than ever before. You can always find additional resources and support at leansmarts.com. In fact, we do offer a free online lean community with free courses and other materials, as well as a lean training academy that has a bunch of video resources to help engage your team and transform your organization. Or if you're stumped and you need some help, you can contact me for free and inquire about our consulting services. We're here to help you succeed. Now, what about today's episode? I mean, this is the first one, right? So it's a big deal. Well, today we're going to talk about the greatest waste of all. If you have had any previous exposure to lean, then you probably know that one of the central ideas of lean is waste elimination. So today we're going to be continuing that idea, but focusing on the greatest waste of all the wastes, not just any waste. I will give you a quick refresher though, just in case you're less familiar with lean, and I will do that from time to time throughout all of these podcast episodes to try and catch people at all different levels of lean comprehension. So here's your quick rundown of waste. It really comes after understanding value. Value is anything the customer wants. It's anything that typically transforms a product material into the product or closer to the product. So cutting, hammering, painting, things like that. That adds value because there's transformation taking place. Waste is everything else, and there are 7 classic types of waste. I learned them through the acronym TIMWOOD. Some people will hate on acronyms, but whatever, it can be helpful. So here's the 7. The first is transportation, the movement of stuff. No transformation from point A to point B, so it's wasteful. Next is inventory, because if it's just sitting on the shelf, there's no transformation, and there's a lot of consequences for the organization when there's inventory just sitting there. Next is motion. Motion is the movement of people, not of stuff, but the people. You could do the hokey pokey all day long at work, breaking a sweat, but it's not transforming anything when you are walking back and forth or reaching and doing all those motions. So motion is wasteful. Next is waiting. Waiting is wasteful, and we feel that just naturally. Waiting is frustrating, but it creates waste too for an organization, whether it's waiting material or machines or people. Next is overprocessing. That is looked at 2 ways. One is the waste of correction. If you have a defect, you process it a second time to correct it, and that's wasteful. The other teaching on overprocessing is the waste of overdoing it, essentially. Whenever you are doing more than is required to get the product right, to customer satisfaction. So painting, grinding, sanding, you can overprocess your material in any of those situations. The next waste is overproduction, which is called the mother of all wastes, because wherever you have overproduction, it will give birth to all the other 6 types of waste. And that's a separate episode entirely, but it's very terrible. Overproduction is whenever you have more than what's needed immediately now. And then the last of the 7 classic types of waste is defects, which is kind of self-explanatory. Anything that is a quality issue or defective with the product, that's obviously wasteful. Now, these are all bad things, but they miss the greatest waste of all wastes. And it was added to the canon of lean manufacturing. If there's a lean Bible out there, it was added to the canon decades down the road and called the eighth waste, and it goes by a variety of names, but I'm going to call it in this episode the waste of a wasted life. Now, I've not heard it taught like this. Perhaps some people teach it this way, but it is the truth. The waste of a wasted life. What is of more value than life itself? And therefore, what is of greater waste than the waste of life itself? If you've ever lost a loved one, you know that this is true. There's really nothing more important and more valuable in this life that we live than life itself. It's more important than work, more important than money, more important than anything. And it's measured by time. You can steal money, but you cannot steal time. It is completely exhaustible. You don't get it back. And so life is of the greatest value in this world. It's why wars and hunger and starvation and disease are so terrible, because it is the wasting of our greatest resource, life. Now, this is not just new theory and philosophy I'm throwing into the world of lean. It is very much credible as a lean idea, the waste of life, because, I'm going to prove it to you, all you have to do is look at the founders of the Toyota production system. Look at Eiji Toyota, the former president and chairman of the Toyota Motor Corporation, and responsible alongside Taiichi Ono with inventing much of what is the Toyota production system. And a brief history lesson for you, that is where lean was really discovered. Much of what we call lean is what was first observed in the Toyota production system, TPS. So Eiji says this: employees are offering a very important part of their life to us. If we don't use their time effectively, we are wasting their lives. Wow. What he is saying is a very big deal. He's saying that people come to work and they give a company time. If the company is not using their time effectively, the company is wasting that person's life. It may not be a war, it may not be disease, it may not be starvation, but there is a depletion of life itself happening when employees clock in and clock out and have their time wasted. So this is why the waste of a wasted life is completely lean, and I think you've got to agree with me, there is no greater waste than this. So there's a lot at stake, a ton at stake in the workplace. Just consider the fact that any full-time working person, 40 hours or more a week, is spending 25% of their time at work. That means if your company is wasting people's time, you're wasting a quarter of their life. That is horrible. I mean, that's a huge tragedy. And so this has to be given attention. There's other statistics that have been well studied and researched. Gallup has published that 85% of employees are not engaged in the workplace. And also that 33% of professionals cite boredom as the reason for leaving their job. Now, these are the statistics, but emotionally, what is consciously or subconsciously felt by these disengaged people, of which I've been one before, or these bored professionals, of which I've also been one before, is that, man, I feel like my life is being wasted here. And that's why I'm bored. That's why I'm angry, because my life has value and my time is being underutilized. It's being wasted here. That's the source of my frustration. So this is a big deal. It's an endemic. It's everywhere. Yes, it's true that lean comes with all kinds of tools and technical jargon and strategies for creating flow and ensuring quality and lots of industrial engineering. Great stuff. I actually really enjoy it because I am engineering minded. But the truth is that underneath all of it is this foundation of people and the value of people and the necessity of engaging every single person in the work of problem solving, of improvement, of contributing to creating value for the customer. Now, when I talk about engaging employees, I'm not talking about just maybe the generic employee engagement that you can find in some excellent books and other instruction. I'm not talking about sensational leadership or being super charismatic or things of that sort. What I'm really talking about is engaging people in the practice of continuous improvement. That's what we're talking about when it comes to lean, specifically in Kaizen. Kaizen is a word meaning good change. It's a good change for the better. And it's intended to be everyone who does it every single day and in every place of an organization. So I'm not talking about engaging employees in just a general sense, which might be popular in the business world today and has some value, but I mean specifically in the activities of Kaizen, of eliminating waste, of maintaining excellent housekeeping and abnormality control. That's what happens in 5S, productivity. And then standardization. Those three activities really represent the core of Kaizen practices and is central to engaging employees in meaningful work that creates value for customers. It's not about being charismatic or anything of that sort. It's these activities that need to be occurring and all the time and everywhere. Now, I'll give you a few reasons why, 3 reasons why it's in your interest to eliminate this greatest waste of all, the waste of a wasted life, the waste of people's creativity and time and potential in your organization. Maybe I shouldn't need to take time to do this, but just in case, let me delineate it a little bit. The first reason is that companies that do engage their employees well in the work are 21% more profitable. That's from the same study done by Gallup. An engaged employee, which is the case in any truly lean thinking organization, is simply going to be more profitable for the organization. This is not just charity to make use of people's time and to respect them. It's actually in the interest of your organization to invest in your people and engage them in the work of continuous improvement. So there is money in it, even if I would argue that money is not necessarily the highest goal or motivator in engaging people. And that's because of the second reason I'll give you to get rid of this greatest waste. The second reason is it's our moral obligation. Because if you believe that every person has value, then you must also accept that it's wrong. It's wrong to waste that person's creativity and potential and everything that they can bring to the table in your organization. We're actually morally obligated to respect people and to make the best use of their time. And so if you care about people, if you respect them, or I dare say even love and have compassion for people, then you must do this. And yes, the money will follow you investing in your people. It's just that investing in your people doesn't necessarily follow when your goal is just money. So you can't have the carts before the horse here. The third reason why you need to eradicate this greatest waste of wasting people's time and potential is that you'll never realize world-class results without this world-class level of respect for people. This reminds me of a central teaching to what's called job relations in TWI, Training Within Industries, where it teaches that leaders get results through people. You've got to get results through the people. Well, how do you get those results if you undervalue them, or if you underestimate what they're capable of, or if you're too busy to develop and challenge those people around you? It just won't happen. You just will not reach world-class performance without you first having the right value for people and respecting them. So this greatest waste of all is what many lean purists call the eighth waste of lean. The waste of people's skills or creativity or even genius on the job to make things better. And the majority of organizations are not tapping into their people's potential. It's also true that this eighth waste is the waste of a wasted life, just like IG was saying earlier in this podcast. And it's actually the reason why Lean Smarts exists today, that it actually started to help let the glory out in every person, because every person has value. And if we can help you let that value find expression, then you can succeed and the world will be that much more transformed. While you will find more instruction and lean education in this podcast, the best of what we have to offer you will find in our Lean Smarts Academy. It's where we've got our best video training to help you learn lean, engage your team, and transform your organization. In an industry that's dominated by complicated and technical training, we make it fun and simple, because how else are you to let out that glory, that value in every person in your workplace? So head on over to leansmarts.com to learn more. And at the very least, check out our free online community with some of the best free lean resources the internet has to offer. Well, that's all for today. I look forward to sharing more with you soon in the next episode of the Lean Smarts podcast.